Hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Podsavvy. This side सार्थक बत्रा, founder of Podsavvy. तो जैसे कि बहुत सारे लोगों ने पिछले पॉडकास्ट पे बहुत ज़्यादा प्यार दिखाया एंड लोगों ने मेरे को नीचे कमेंट्स में बोला कि अगला किसके साथ पॉडकास्ट हो रहा है, तो मैंने कल पोस्ट डाली थी कि गालव भूषण के साथ हो रहा है। और मैंने एक स्टोरी भी डाली थी आप लोगों को पता करने के लिए कि आपको पता चलेगा गालव भूषण कौन है। और मैं आपको ये बता दूं कि हम लोगों ने अपनी 3 साल कॉलेज लाइफ साथ बिताई है। कॉलेज लाइफ अभी अलग रखते हैं, बट लेकिन इन अ प्रोफेशनल लाइफ मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि साथ ही थे। एंड देन मेरे को लगा कि गालव इंडिया से बाहर शिफ्ट हुआ एंड ही स्टार्टेड हिज बिजनेस। तो देखते हैं कि क्या बताता है गालव। सो वेलकम बैक मिस्टर गालव भूषण टू द शो ऑफ पॉड savvy वी क्राफ्ट यू लिसन। तो क्या चल रहा है, कैसा चल रहा है आजकल?
It's good, man. Everything is going quite well. I thank you for the great introduction. Basically, I have been managing my own business for about eight to 12 months, but I have been in this field for more than 4 years, which is web development. Primarily, हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि businesses, small to medium businesses want to go online आजकल सब लोग leverage करना चाहते हैं, but market में कितने सारे companies and players and freelancers है जिनको नहीं करना आता है या they've never done it and they offer you services. So we are in that market. We have a lot of proven results that we have gotten for clients, and in this field हम लोग web development करते हैं, SEO करते हैं. We also do Google ads and everything depending on what your business requires to grow. But ideally, I would like to describe my business as helping other businesses scale online, gain traction, get a good presence, and earn some money.
So, Galav, as you told about your business, so what made you to step out of the country like India and work outside? You made your plan because when you are born in India, people go outside after some period of point of time to like establish their business or like work for any job. But after doing college, after some months, you made your plan to go to the country. So I would like you to tell which country and how, what made your mind to go there. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. So I have a unique background in the sense that my dad is Indian, my mom is Mauritian. Um, After college, for me, it's a bit of a personal reason. जहाँ पे मैं अपने घर पे बहुत ज़्यादा comfortable था. In India, everything is taken care of, drivers, maids, everybody helping you and everything. I wanted to get out of that. I wanted to see the struggle, as they say. Movies में बहुत देखने को मिलता है कि लोग बहुत मेहनत कर रहे हैं ये वो. I wanted to face that. I wanted to see दुनिया में होता क्या है exactly and how the world actually looks like, which prompted me to make this decision. After university, I got a job. I was working as a salesman for this company called Planet Spark. We were doing B2C sales online. And that was my first interaction with American clients and how people think on an international level. And I wanted to continue that. So I was always in web development. ये चीज़ मैं हमेशा कॉलेज में भी मैं अपने साइड पे I used to do it on the side. While working in Planet Spark, I really started doubling down on this. And then मैंने decide किया कि I'm gonna get out of India, go to a new market. Mauritius is the market that I eventually chose, primarily just to get out of the comfort zone, to put myself in the grind, as they say, and to face the reality. क्योंकि I don't want to be in an isolated bubble जहाँ पे सब कुछ platter पे serve हो रहा है. That was the driving reason behind it.
So as you went out, what were the changes that you felt in Mauritius that they are not in India, and you feel like you get more independence when you step out of the country, like your home country, and go to another country to work for?
Absolutely. So, good question there. Now, when I came here, I had a very different perception of what international life looks like. I mean, हम सबको आदत है stories पे देखना, all the glamour of Instagram and the beaches and everything. And I was looking forward to sitting on a beach with the laptop and relaxing all day, having a cocktail and working. ऐसे नहीं चलती life, unfortunately. So there was a big difference of there being very little support. Like जैसे इंडिया में we always have, drivers and maids and everything. यहाँ पे मेरी maid आती है हफ्ते में 2 बारी, which is more than what 90% of the people here are getting. So the support infrastructure is quite less. You're expected to do a lot on your own. Like first time मेरे को, खैर मैंने इंडिया में भी सब्जी वगैरह खरीद रखी है, बट फर्स्ट टाइम मेरे को एक्चुअली जाके शिद्दत से सब्जी खरीदनी पड़ी अपने खाने के लिए, जो मैंने कभी किया ही नहीं है लाइफ में. So there were all of these big changes in my life where, it was very independent. Along with being independent, of course, that is the challenge of being in another country and not being culturally associable. I had the fortunate experience of being in a boarding school in England, so I was used to being in different cultures. But culture shock to high. Once you come to these countries, you realize everything is developed, हर चीज महंगा, फिर जेब पे चुभती है चीजें. And when you start your own business and you're in a new country with no network, it's even more difficult. So India में जैसे हमारे, because of our college, we in fact had such a very 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 strong network of, business owners and people that you can address. I had none of that, so I had to start from zero primarily in Mauritius. But there are also positives to it. Life is very good. I used to work a job here. It was 5 days working. India में मैं काम करता था 11 घंटे दिन 7 दिन हफ्ते में. यहाँ आके मैं 5 दिन काम कर रहा था, 8 घंटे रिलैक्स्ड, 1 घंटा लंच, डेवलप्ड इकोनॉमी. um, so there are positives and there are negatives, but on the whole it is very self driven. इंडिया में जैसे होता है, आप किसी को कुछ बोल दो तो 50 लोग ही इकट्ठा हो जाते हैं बात करने के लिए. हाँ जी, क्या हो गया, अच्छा ऐसे ही, ये करो वो करो. ये सब नहीं होता है यहाँ पे. इट इज वेरी इंडिविजुअल, वेरी सेल्फ ड्रिवन. But at the same time, you can maximize on the opportunities. It gives you a good leverage. And the one thing I realized is कि इंडिया के अंदर जब हम रहते हैं तो हमें लगता है इंडिया की कोई खास बात नहीं है, इंडिया वर्ल्ड स्टेज पे कोई सीरियसली नहीं लेता. बट once you get out of India, you kind of realize that people respect Indians a lot. I faced this myself even in England, where people would tell me, "Oh, beautiful country and everything." And over the years, as India is developing, now we are viewed as amongst the best in the world, highest caliber workers. We still have a perception of being cheap, so you always have to fight that. But beyond being cheap, people think that you're very good at what you do, and almost foot in the door mil jata hai, especially in business situations.
So, as you talked about all these parameters that are relevant, but now I want to ask you to like tell the parents of the students who are still stuck with a like very narrow-minded uh, in perspective of not sending their child outside, in perspective of their marriage, because in India, you are also from India and I am also from India. So every parent, not every parent, but like most of the parents have a concept of like making a student do schooling, college, post grad, marriage, their child, and everything. But
Hmm.
as the economy is changing and people are changing, what you want to tell the parents, that should they send their child outside, should they be open to them working outside, because people and students are being pressured by the parents at some point of time, because either the parent is not ready to send his or her child outside, or the child is not ready to move out. So
Hmm.
you might have faced one or the two consequences onto your part, because shifting from India to Mauritius is another level. Even if you are like crossing the Indian boundaries out, it changed the
Hmm.
whole perspective. Even if your one parent is in India and one parent is in Mauritius, so having a combination of understanding sending a child outside from the home country, what you want to tell the parents to have the mindset for them.
Absolutely. Good question again. Now the thing is, I come from a bit of a non-traditional family in the sense that almost everybody from my grandfather has studied abroad. In fact, my dad lived for 20 years in Saudi Arabia. He was the country head of Saudi Aramco at one point in time. So my parents have had a very open outlook on staying abroad. That being said, my dad is not very happy that I left India, because they view India as the golden sone ki murgi, as they used to say back in the day, right? So that is the perspective that they have. But there are two or three key reasons why I wanted to move out, and I think it is a good decision to make if you understand that these are the factors that you have to play with. Now, first of all is of course the independence, right? For parents and for students as well. The independence and the life that you have to live when you're abroad is way more challenging than in India, क्योंकि मेड नहीं है, घर पे बर्तन खुद धोने हैं, घर की सफाई खुद करनी है, उसके बाद बाहर जाना है तो बजटिंग करनी है. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप बाहर जाओ 200 रुपये INR में ड्रिंक मिल जाएगी, लाइक हियर where I live, it's around about $10 for a drink. For a good dinner, it's $100. So मेरे को डिनर पे जाना पड़ता है, इवन इफ आई एम गोइंग ऑन डेट्स बहुत सोच समझ के जाना पड़ता है. कभी कभी मैकडोनल्ड्स ही जाना पड़ता है टू बजट. So the first thing that is quite important, I think one of the learnings you get is how to be independent, how to live within certain means, and just facing a different purchasing power parity, right? Like India में बहुत ज़्यादा purchasing power है, especially if you have a little bit of money. Abroad ऐसा नहीं है. So first thing parents should consider is that their children are going to get extremely independent once they go out. They will not seek validation. They don't need, they will not come up to you and be like, "आप मम्मा ये बता दो, पापा ये कर दो," क्योंकि कोई सिस्टम है ही नहीं अपना बाहर ऐसा. Second thing that I would like to highlight is something for parents and students to also consider is the simple fact that India is a world in itself. This is what scares me about India. I am the most comfortable in India. I have my life pretty much still revolves around India. Like most of my friends are in India, the people that I talk to are in India. But the thing is that what scared me, and I think what should scare other people also, is India अपने में दुनिया है. एंड इंडिया बहुत बड़ा है. एंड अगर आप इंडिया के सिचुएशन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में इंटीग्रेट हो जाओ, then the best example I got was from one of my friends. In fact, his name is Sarthak only. He works in, I think, Wipro now. He's joined somewhere else. He was telling me, भाई अब मैं पुणे में हूँ. Then Pune से I will go to Bangalore when I get a promotion. Then I will get to Hyderabad, and then I will get to Delhi, and then I will be able to live in Delhi, and then inshallah हम मुंबई पहुंच जाए. This is the problem. This is what scares me. It's like, इंडिया अपने में दुनिया है, तो आप इंडिया में ही पूरी जिंदगी निकाल सकते हो. सो फॉर पीपल दैट वांट एन एक्सपोजर टू डिफरेंट वेज ऑफ थिंकिंग, India will give that to you, but in a very bubble concept, where आपको इंडिया के different ways of thinking पता चल जाएंगे, दुनिया के नहीं पता चलेंगे. And essentially what happens in a traditional corporate career ladder is that when you're in your mid 30s, late 30s, you start approaching international business. You reach those levels, VP, CXO, or along those levels, and then you start interfacing with people, and then you learn about this. So this is something that scared me. I want to be as familiar with cultures as possible. I have had this fascination बचपन से ही कि man of the world बनना है. So I must really compel students and parents to think about this कि if you want that kind of personal growth, like movies में देखते हैं कभी कभी वो spies होते हैं, they walk into a bar and then they start talking fluent Spanish. इंडिया में रह के नहीं होगा. इंडिया में आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा मराठी गुजराती बोल लोगे, उसके बियॉन्ड मुश्किल ही है. So there is that aspect to really consider and think about. And then the third thing is opportunities. Although now I can't really say that India does not have opportunities. Opportunities have opened up a lot in India. But still, there are growth opportunities, like, say, in Mauritius, if I were to get a job at this point in time, it is much easier for me to climb up the corporate ladder with the work ethic that I have developed in India compared to a Mauritian that has, been born and brought up here. Just because developed economy इन लोगों को आदत नहीं है इतना ज़्यादा काम वाम करने की. मेरे से कोई 7 दिन काम करा ले, मेरे को कोई दिक्कत नहीं होती. बट यहाँ पे अगर किसी से आप 7 दिन काम कराओ, people get very annoyed. So it allows you to grow very fast. That's why we see these Suraj Pichai and all of these guys, CEOs are Indians, because इन लोगों को कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, ये दिन में 12 घंटे भी काम करेंगे. इनको पता है इंडिया में एक ही ऑप्शन था, या तो काम करो या तो भूखे मर जाओ. So internationally ये नहीं होता. So you have a competitive advantage. So these are three factors to think about. I think these are the three core factors to always think about, and they're heavily linked to personal development. So I think it is a good avenue for personal development. In terms of the traditional structure of getting married and stuff like that, I think that like अब तो outdate हो गया ये सब. कौन ही मास्टर्स करके शादी करेगा? मैं तो सो इमेजिन भी नहीं कर सकता. अभी मेरा खुद का खर्चा निकलते निकलते कभी कभी मुश्किल हो जाती है. इसके बाद बीवी बच्चा ये वो, इट्स टू मच. So people should get out of that. We're in the 2023, it's the 21st century. It's time to think in a more modern way. It's time to think in a more uh, The world has changed. Everything is very abstract these days, so you have to think like that. You can't just go and be like, हाँ शादी करनी है, ये करना है, वो करना है.
So, like Galav, you told it so well. I think that the viewers should understand this and start telling to their parents. And when this podcast would be live, I would request each and every viewer to show and like watch with your family. Another thing for the student perspective, I think that we were also in that age of like 20s, and we are in the age of 20s now. We we came across a mindset in India to have a big house, a good
Hmm.
car with a V12 V8 engine, Mercedes AMG G63, G wagon and all, Bugatti and all. So people have a mind कि जब इतना पैसा कमा लेंगे ना तो हमारे पास भी गाड़ी होगी. But
Hmm.
standing in a business field, it comes to two perspectives. Either you have a job of a very high end position in which you are earning an n amount of money, in which you don't require a second income, to like earning for a second income to fulfill your dreams and etc.
Hmm.
Either you should start a secondary business to earn your money, either it's stocks, either it's crypto, either it's some of the big businesses to start
Hmm.
with. So, what is your take onto this, having a secondary business or having such a big business that you can achieve your dreams? Because I think people watch Instagram stories, XYZ, न्यूज़पेपर्स एंड पीपल आर लाइक कि हमें भी घर चाहिए, हमारा भी 5 मंजिला 10 मंजिला घर होना चाहिए, मैंशन होना चाहिए, उस बीच में एक फाउंटेन होना चाहिए, उसमें मेरा नाम इनग्रेव्ड होना चाहिए. तो ये किस तरीके से अचीव हो पाएगा?
नहीं, that's a very good point, especially about the Instagram stories. मैं 50 से 100 Instagram reels देखता हूँ रोज. I'm trying to curb that right now. It's a bad habit. But सब पे यही रहता है, बुगाटी, जी वैगन सब चला रहे हैं, yachts, ये वो. But unfortunately, I think what people don't understand is the reality that goes behind this. To put a G wagon in your garage, आजकल मैं ऐसे सोचता हूँ, because I've got in business and everything. तो मेरे थिंकिंग प्रोसेस पूरा चेंज हो गया. मेरे को ये लगता है मैं जी वैगन अपने गैराज में रखूं, 3 या 5 करोड़ की गाड़ी है, समथिंग लाइक दैट. आई डोंट इवन नो व्हाट द प्राइस इज. उस पे मान के चलो 10% हर साल डिप्रिशिएशन, 30% शोरूम से निकालने पे डिप्रिशिएशन. 2 साल में मेरा 50% तो गाड़ी की वैल्यू खत्म हो गई. ठीक है. सो इफ यू हैव 5 करोड़ की, तुम 2.5 करोड़ रुपए फेंक दो, तो तुम ये गाड़ी रख सकते हो. 5 करोड़ करते करते लोगों के कुल के वंश खत्म हो जाते हैं. लाइक मैं कभी कुछ लोगों को समझा रहा था कि इवन इंडिया में ऐसी ऐसी फैमिलीज भी है जिनने अपने पूरी पूरे हिस्ट्री ऑफ देयर फैमिली में कभी 10 लाख रुपए साथ में नहीं देखे होंगे. एंड हियर वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट 250 टाइम्स 10 लाख, विच इज 2.5 करोड़. So being realistic is very important. I think that is the first thing. Most people will not be able to make it. There is a reason these are the top 0.1% of the world, and there is a reason that the top 0.1% spot is so coveted. But what I would like to tell people is understand कि दुनिया कैसे चलती है. The world is a game of cash flow and debit, right? It is a game of having cash flows. It is a game of having debt, not debit. Sorry, I meant debt. It's a mix. You need to understand that if you have a fixed salary and you want to buy a G wagon, और वो जी वैगन का EMI आपकी सैलरी से ज़्यादा है, तो आप कभी नहीं खरीद पाओगे. कुछ ना कुछ तो सेकेंडरी इनकम निकालना पड़ेगा, टर्शरी भी हो सकता है. आई पर्सनली नो पीपल दैट आर रनिंग 6 cash flow businesses, 7 cash flow businesses to touch like 1 million, $1.5 million a year. These are big numbers. 1.5 million is what, 6 crores I think per annum. उनका बिजनेस करता है, तो वो जाके जी वैगन अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं, और ये लोग निशान चलाते हैं, कैश का है ये सब बकवास. बिकॉज दे नो दैट लाइक एंड ऑफ द डे द कैश फ्लो आज है कल नहीं है. एंड सेकेंडली, आप जब मेहनत करके पैसे कमाना शुरू करो, तो ये सारी चीज़ें कम इंटरेस्टिंग लगने लग जाती है. लाइक आई यूज टू ऑलवेज टेल माई मॉम कि मेरा प्राइवेट जेट होगा, तो अब मैं उनको कहता हूँ कि मेरे को प्राइवेट जेट नहीं चाहिए भाई. कौन ही उसमें तेल भरवाएगा. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा चार्टर कर लेंगे. बट
So,
if you have big dreams, I do advise having multiple sources of cash flow, which is income essentially.
so like now we would deep dive into this topic more deeply. So you told that it's not possible, but when we live our life, when we have a like, we can say that when we were in Jindal, so like coming on to the college stories, there were some people who were to an n number of like to an n end, like wearing luxury brands, LV, Air Jordans, and all. We didn't
Yeah.
have that. But when we left college, we took into our mind कि हम भी जॉर्डन्स पहनेंगे, हमें भी तो जॉर्डन्स चाहिए। आज की डेट में अगर आप एडिडास का जूता खरीदने जाते हो, तो आप 2500 वाला जूता नहीं खरीदते हो, आप इजी 750, 560, 520 ही खरीद के आते हो, बिकॉज आपको पता है कि इसकी वैल्यू है और हम इसको इसलिए देख रहे हैं।
Hmm.
बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे है तो जूता ही वो। बट
Hmm.
people also have a tendency to have that thing. So people don't know that working a single-handed way would not help. So बंदा सुबह 7 बजे उठ के ऑफिस जाता है, 5 बजे घर में घुसता है, 6 बजे घर में घुसता है, उसको ये लगता है कि यार क्या क्या कर लिया यार, मतलब अब तो ठीक है,
Hmm.
30,000 रुपए महीने की सैलरी आएगी। तो आई थिंक दैट 100 rupees, द वैल्यू ऑफ 100 rupees टुडे, even if you are saving your money, could not be
Hmm.
100 even after 5 years.
Yeah.
So the biggest example is Red Bull. Red Bull started from 70 rupees to an n number of point. Today it's around 120, 115, 135 somewhere.
Hmm.
So the value of a product which is same, but putting the factors of inflation, WPI numbers, each and everything are changing the mindset. And
Yeah.
people have a tendency, a big tendency to save. ये मैं अपनी
Yeah.
वीडियोस में भी बोलता हूँ, पर मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि अगर आपको कोई एक एक्स अमाउंट ऑफ वैल्यू मिलती है, आप उसे अपना पर्सनल कट करके जो बचता है उसे आप सेविंग्स में डाल के रख लेते हो। टू
Hmm.
अ फैक्ट वी आर इन ट्वेंटीज, क्या वो जो हम सेव करते हैं पैसा, वो रोटेट होके हमारा एक्सपेंडिचर बन जाता है या नहीं बन जाता है?
बन ही जाता है। आई थिंक टू बी ऑनेस्ट लाइक सेविंग्स आर the least return form of holding cash in life, right? So if you think about it, like abhi kya chal raha hai? Inflation, I think, is at 9% in India right now, maybe even more. And actual inflation is much higher, right? This is statistically not shitting on any government here. Statistically 9% है, उससे ज़्यादा ही होता है real life में, अपना सब कुछ महंगा हो जाता
हाँ
है।
हाँ।
So if you have money lying in a savings account, you're probably getting 4% interest. I think 5%. If you have it in an FD, you're getting 7%. So inflation ही 2% खा रहा है आपका साल का. Plus the other fallacy I see from people is they think कि risk है, बहुत risk है. कहते हैं नहीं markets में पैसे नहीं डालने, stocks नहीं खरीदने because there is a risk. There is a risk in starting a business. Well, frankly, अगर कल आपका बैंक डूब गया, तो उसमें भी रिस्क है और वो पैसे लेके गायब हो जाएंगे. And this is how the world works. You are taking a risk at the end of the day for anything. Now, in terms of course, purchasing and having the big dreams, लोग खरीदना चाहते हैं ये. I in fact I personally know people जो 30-40 हज़ार रुपए की सैलरी पे है and then they save for 4 months and then जाके हॉलीडे पे सब कुछ उड़ा देते हैं सेविंग, और फिर आके काम करते हैं 3 महीने और फिर उड़ा देते हैं. It's not really my style of doing things, and it's not what I would advise to people. What I would advise is कि end of the day your money can work for you. Most rich people in the world, लोगों को ये पता ही नहीं होता, या people often choose to ignore it willfully, that most of the rich people of the world, they are probably working 40 hours 50 hours a week. The rest of the time those people, their money is working for them. Like, I take the case of Ambani. I think it is Ambani को स्टॉक डिविडेंड से 6,000 करोड़ मिलता है साल का, बस डिविडेंड से. वो कुछ नहीं करता, वो कुछ ना करे, 1 रुपए सैलरी भी ले ले ऑन पेपर, उसको 6,000 करोड़ डिविडेंड से आएगा. मेरे भी, आई हैव सम ऑफ दीज इन्वेस्टमेंट्स दैट गिव मी, some have monthly dividends, some have yearly dividends. मेरे कुछ FD holdings है, they give me interest on a monthly payout. ज़्यादा पैसा नहीं है, आता है 200-300 रुपए महीने का टाइप्स, but it is something. And had I gone ahead and purchased the Yeezy, it would have been problematic for me because वो तो मेरे को घंटा पैसे नहीं देने वाला मेरे जूते. But the way I like to structure things is कि आपने इतनी एफडीज खोल ली कि आप इजी 0% ईएमआई पे ले लो और ईएमआई भरो इंटरेस्ट से, तो आपका काम दोनों साइड पे हो गया. एंड दिस इज व्हाट पीपल शुड थिंक अबाउट आल्सो कि सिंगल इनकम, एक तो इज नॉट फीजिबल इन द वर्ल्ड एनी मोर. हमारे माँ बाप का जनरेशन था जब वो एक ही, लाइक माई बुआ पर्सनली वर्क्स इन इग्नू एंड शी इज डन दिस फॉर हर एंटायर लाइफ. उनने ग्रेजुएशन करी, उनने इग्नू ज्वाइन करा, अब उनकी रिटायरमेंट आ गई है, वो अभी भी इग्नू में ही है. हमारी तो ऐसे सिचुएशन ही नहीं चल सकती, हमें तो एक जॉब में रह के ऊबर का ही नहीं खर्चा पूरा होता. So, how can you even think of retiring there? So people need to be aware of these things, and they need to take the necessary action, चाहे वो हो invest करना है stock वगैरह. Even if you're buying Yeezys, I have no problem with buying them. Just be mindful कि वो जितने भी 20-25 हज़ार के जूते होंगे उतना अगर एफडी में ही डाल दो जो 7% पे, उसका इंटरेस्ट बहुत आ जाता है आजकल. So you need to think about how you structure your life and how you want to achieve your goals.
So now, Galav, you have touched my most sensitive point talking about FD. If you are tracking my channel, I am completely against FD.
Yeah.
Irrespective of any of the things I want to ask, it is the most hottest and the most viewable segment. This that would you believe investing in FD or would you believe investing into a mutual fund directly to an Indian economy to that amount of money? It is a debatable topic, but I want your perspective towards any of it. Either you are onto an FD side or you are onto a stock side.
No, I am not an FD guy. I am running my own business. I'm a high risk person. So I'm not an FD guy at all. The only FD I have FDs, to be very honest with you. I do have FDs, but the only FDs I have are to get credit cards. Because I have gotten credit cards against FDs, which are less risky, in my opinion, than, getting a based on your CIBIL score and whatever limits they give you. I don't believe in that. मेरे पास 10,000 रुपए की एफडी है, दो तीन एफडीज है, उसके दो तीन क्रेडिट कार्ड्स है. कभी कल दिक्कत हुई मैं भर दूंगा एफडी तोड़ के, no problem. But I am not a believer in FDs. In fact, all of my money I have been investing in the stock market in my business. It's not. But for
Yeah.
the people that are worried कि म्यूचुअल फंड में घाटा हो सकता है, उनको आई वुड सजेस्ट कि यू स्टार्ट विद एन एफडी. एंड देन तुम्हें खुद पता चलेगा कि जब पैसे वापस अकाउंट में आने शुरू होते हैं ना और दिखता है कि ये कुछ आ रहा है, फिर वैल्यू पता चलती है कंपाउंडिंग. बिकॉज मोस्ट पीपल डोंट इवन गो देयर. इंश्योरेंसेस लेते हैं इंडिया में लोग, लाइफ इंश्योरेंस, विच इज अगेन लाइक नॉट समथिंग आई रेकमेंड.
So, Galav, the most heatable topic is just that I have a single point talking about that. If you have 50,000 rupees,
Hmm.
if you give to an Indian family, to a middle class family, purely to a middle class family, pointing out them to invest this money, from that
Hmm.
50,000, 20,000 would be saved,
Yeah.
30,000 would be given into an FD. That is why India is having 1% to 1.5 to 2% of whole aggregation of the investment into the stock markets, because people don't have a confidence to invest into
Yeah.
that. But on the other side, if a mutual fund is giving you a 10% CAGR in 5 years, the same FD is giving, it's just you have a stamp of that you would be getting a particular interest rate. But in India, interest rate now for the banks, for like, it's only up for the old people,
Hmm.
for around 7 to 8%, but for a normal VNU it's about 6.5%. But at the end of the day, 5 years, if you keep that money into the stock market, it gives more than 6.5% of the return, in which the
100%.
FD doesn't cope up with. But people
Hmm.
still have a segment of having an FD but not investing into the market. And when we
Yeah.
talk about the market to them, they are like कि यार हमारे भी पैसे इन्वेस्ट करा दो. The time was of the investment, people don't think. When they get the output and when there is no time to put the money, they go and put into the money. That is why people lose money into the stock market.
Yeah, yeah. I think also there is a big fascination in young people, and also even in people that don't invest in the markets, for guarantee. सब लोगों को हमेशा सही होना है, जो डिसीजन लेना है वो 100% राइट होना चाहिए और हमेशा राइट होना चाहिए. तो एफडी तो आपको स्टैम्प पेपर है, वो तो स्टैम्प लिखा आता है कि आपको इतना मिलेगा ही मिलेगा गारंटी. तो बड़े खुश हो जाते हैं कि हाँ हमारी गलती हो ही नहीं सकती इसमें, ये सही होगा. द प्रॉब्लम इज लाइफ डज नॉट वर्क लाइक दिस, राइट? लाइक ऐसा नहीं है कि कल आप साला जॉब से भी निकलने जा सकते हो, एंड देयर यू वर रॉन्ग, राइट? सो वो फैसिनेशन थोड़ा कम करने की जरूरत है, बिकॉज इवन इन द स्टॉक मार्केट, इवन इफ यू लूज, आई थिंक इफ यू हैड इन्वेस्टेड इन द सेंसेक्स व्हाट 20 years ago, you saw insane growth. Now you will be the person that will have the stats more correct than I will, but the reality is उसमें बहुत लोग हारे भी हैं, वो फिर भी ओवरऑल जीत गए. एंड जिंदगी ऐसे चलती है, आप एक छोटी डिसीजन में हार सकते हो, इधर उधर हार सकते हो, बट ऑन द लॉन्ग टर्म यू गो इन द स्टॉक मार्केट, you will always make money. Like this is a proven fact, right? Like इसमें कोई झूठ नहीं है, मैं किसी को वो नहीं कर रहा, unless आप कोई जिबूटी विबूटी के स्टॉक मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो विदाउट थिंकिंग अबाउट इट. इंडिया इज अ ग्रोथ इकोनॉमी. India will always grow. At least for the next 15 years it will grow. And therefore any money you put in the market, ठीक है एक दो इंडिविजुअल स्टॉक हो सकता है गिर जाए. लाइक मेरी मॉम ने ही इन्वेस्ट करे थे रिलायंस कॉम में, आर कॉम, बैक इन द डे. तो उनके तो डूब गए 16,000 रुपए. बट उनने भी क्या करा कि उन्हें सारे पैसे आर कॉम में डाल दिए. ऐसा तो गेम चलता नहीं है, यू हैव टू बी स्मार्ट अबाउट इट. But other investments that she's made have given her returns. Like my dad, for example, he bought Gillette stock जब 10 रुपए का इशू हुआ था. तो अब तो उनके पास इनसेन वैल्यू है जिलेट स्टॉक की. बट ऐसा नहीं है कि वो हारे नहीं है, हमने पेपर मिल्स में भी इन्वेस्ट करे थे, पेपर मिल्स तो अब ठप हो गए सारे के सारे. सो देर इज विनिंग एंड लूजिंग, बट ऑन द होल इफ यू लुक एट इट, यू विल ऑलवेज विन इफ यू प्ले द गेम फॉर लॉन्ग इनफ. एंड दैट इज द गेम, राइट? यू हैव टू शो अप एवरी डे एंड यू हैव टू प्ले द लॉन्ग गेम. द एक दो दिन में किसी का कुछ नहीं बदलने वाला.
Yeah. So Galav, now keeping the financials to another side, coming on to the branding side, from your co-marketing side and from your heart, I want to make you and like I want to make you that people should understand how much a personal brand is important to someone, because I have been quoting them to people that personal brand is very important because you work under someone just for an experience, but at the end of the day you should know how to run a business, and you should know, like, having a 10,000 rupees capital can run the business, having a 5,000 rupees capital can run the business. It's just that you should have a courage to step out of your house and start doing a business of your own. It's not wrong to do a job, it's not wrong to work for n number of years, but it's also very important to have a personal brand, because
Yeah.
people who work hard do not focus on personal brand. That is why they are not known to people, and they work so brilliantly that their work shines, but they are not out of, like, people won't know. So if I could tell you that there is a person in Capgemini who is a very big designer working for n number of companies, so you don't know because he doesn't have a personal brand that
Yeah.
for who he or she is working. But
Yeah.
what do you think that personal brand is important for each and everyone, and why it is important to have a personal brand in early age? Because as your age becomes very high, or like you grow up, there is a very big tendency to not creating a personal brand, because you are at that level, either you support your family or you support yourself at that point of time. So you need to have a that. But if you have a time to build a personal brand, then you can build it, because it's at the end you need to have a niche to build onto it. But people don't have a
Yeah.
clarity. They have a clarity कि यार कोई जॉब दिला दे 10 लाख एलपीए का, 60 लाख एलपीए का, 1 करोड़ की जॉब. But that is also not valid to the people
Yeah.
of thinking that, of our age, that we think so higher and we are still on to the particular की job चाहिए.
Yeah. No, it's a very good point about the person. But I mean, I think in today's day and age, like everything is on the internet. आधे jobs remote है दुनिया में. Individuals have a lot of power. I think एक तो लोगों को लगता है कि companies will not appreciate it, and this is true. Companies don't appreciate it when you have a personal brand and you are doing a lot of posting and everything, unless you're super tailored to what a company wants from you exactly. But the point of having a personal brand is actually very simple. Like हम लोग, people, human beings, like human beings, they don't like a company. कोई आके ये नहीं बोलने वाला कि साला गूगल बहुत बढ़िया है. वो आपको बोलेंगे सुंदर पिचाई ने बढ़िया बात करी है. वो चाहे वो बात किसी और कॉपीराइटर ने लिखा हो बैकग्राउंड में, उसके बाद दो कॉपीराइटर्स ने एडिट करा हो, ड्राफ्ट करा हो, ये वो, हमें सुंदर पिचाई पसंद आता है, हमें गूगल नहीं पसंद आता. पसंद आता है, वी विल हैव अफिनिटी, बट वी विल नेवर थिंक ऑफ एम एज इंडियन, ये वो बकवास, क्योंकि नहीं है ऐसा. Another example I'll give you, Steve Jobs, right? Apple भी कहीं से शुरू हुआ था before it was a multi-billion-dollar or whatever trillion-dollar if it is right now conglomerate. तब एक ही बंदा उसको ड्राइव करता था, स्टीव जॉब्स. पीपल विल टेल यू स्टोरीज ऑफ व्हाट स्टीव डिड इन सर्टेन इंटरव्यूज एंड व्हाट स्टीव डिड इन सर्टेन बिजनेस मीटिंग्स, बिकॉज पीपल लाइक पीपल. एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, मैंने जब अपना बिजनेस स्टार्ट करा था, आई लीन्ड वेरी मच इनटू बिजनेस. आई लीन वेरी मच इनटू प्रमोटिंग माय बिजनेस नेम, एक्चुअलाइज, सेट अप लिंक्डइन पेजेस, मेड अ वेबसाइट, एवरीथिंग. फिर मेरे को रियलाइज हुआ कि साला नोबडी केयर्स. लोग गूगल करते हैं तो वो मेरा नाम गूगल करते हैं, कोई एक्चुअलाइज गूगल करता ही नहीं है. गालिब भूषण गूगल करते हैं. देन आई रियलाइज कि क्योंकि लोग मेरे साथ काम कर रहे हैं, एंड ऑफ द डे मेरे पीछे 10 लोग बैठे हो, दे डोंट केयर, दे विल सी माई फेस एंड दे विल से हु इज दिस पर्सन. इट इज द सेम फॉर एवरी वन, इवन इफ यूर एन एम्प्लॉई. To tomorrow say you're an excellent podcaster, जब तक हमें पता नहीं है कि सार्थक बत्रा पॉडकास्टर है कुछ, सार्थक बत्रा पॉडकास्ट बनाता है, हमें कैसे पता चलेगा कि पॉडकास्ट भी है भाई? नहीं पता चलेगा। So it is very very important to have a personal brand, also to have a personal brand that is real and grounded. लाइक बड़े लोग होते हैं वो लिंक्डइन पे ऐसे पोस्ट करने शुरू कर देंगे लंबे लंबे, मैंने ये किया वो किया, दिस व्हाट आई डू, ये वो बढ़िया है लाइक, बट यू कैन रीड समथिंग दैट इज नॉट रियल एंड यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड, एंड you can read something that is real and understand. So people should be real, they should invest in themselves, because a personal brand will open opportunities for you eventually. But again, it is a long game, and long game से डरना नहीं चाहिए. And people should not be scared of putting themselves out there. Like मैंने अभी LinkedIn posting शुरू करी है 2-3 दिन पहले, 2-3 हफ्ते पहले एक्चुअली. आई वॉज वेरी नर्वस स्टार्टिंग में. मैंने सोचा लोग क्या सोचेंगे, ये बंदा क्या कर रहा है, इसका बिजनेस है भी नहीं है, क्या है पापा का बिजनेस, ये वो. Then I realized, fuck them. I don't really care that much about it. I want my customers, my ideal people to look at it and think and understand who I am. And I did it. And एक बार ही आप शुरू कर दो फिर रुकना मुश्किल होता है. शुरू करना सबसे डिफिकल्ट चीज होती है.
So Galav, that is why I started creating a personal brand when I started the stocks 808. I had a Twitter account named as Sarthak Batra, and I get that motivation from Mr. Sehen Thomas. I I know that you know him very well,
Hmm.
and he told me to put each and every news that you
Hmm.
find for the stocks market. You can imagine starting from zero tweet. I did 13,000 tweets in 1.5 months.
Wow.
If you calculate the trading sessions of particular news of a particular segment of a market trading hours, I am 25 to 30 messages above each and every trading session, having the whole news of the market. And then
Hmm.
even after not putting a single money, I was, if you typed Sarthak Batra, I was the first one to show on Google, onto Twitter. If you put Sarthak Batra onto the Twitter, I was the one. Then I started to create a personal brand, because as you told, people would not search my company, they will search Galav Bhushan. Who Galav
Correct.
Bhushan is, who Sarthak Batra is. Because I think that personal brand would make you someone, another, like someone into a different game altogether. That is a
Yeah.
personal brand is very important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
now,
Also,
Galav, I
you.
wanted to ask you, what is one incident and what is one perspective of yours that changed your life till now? Like, what was that turning point where you realized कि यार अगर मैं वो कर रहा होता तो आज शायद से यहाँ नहीं होता, आज मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, तो भली मेहनत है बट लेकिन हाँ मजा आ रहा है. So what was
No,
that?
that's a very good question. And for me, it was actually knowing and understanding how the internet works. Um, हमने हमेशा सुना था फेसबुक एड्स होते हैं, लोग ये करते हैं वो करते हैं, बट आई नेवर अंडरस्टूड द पावर ऑफ इट. लाइक मेरे को, when I started my web dev business, the fifth client I got, I think they came to me and they said कि हमें वेबसाइट बनाना है. सर ओके, वेबसाइट बन जाएगा. कहते लेकिन आपको वेबसाइट के लिए ए बी टेस्टिंग करनी है, कन्वर्जन ट्रैकिंग करनी है. मेरे लिए बहुत न्यू था ये. मैंने तब तब तक सोचा था कि ये तो बस ऐसे ही होता है, वेबसाइट बना देते हैं लोग ताकि ऑनलाइन आए, ये वो. द मोमेंट आई रेड अबाउट दिस ए बी टेस्टिंग, कन्वर्जन ट्रैकिंग, कैसे इंटरनेट चलता है, आई कांट टेल यू, माई एंटायर पर्सपेक्टिव, माई एंटायर माइंड जस्ट एक्सप्लोडेड. आई वाज लाइक व्हाट, ऐसा भी होता है दुनिया में. And then I started looking at how people are actually making money and how people are actually running businesses online. And it is completely वेरी काउंटर इंटुइटिव टू व्हाट वी थिंक. हमें लगता है कि बहुत पैसे की जरूरत होगी, बहुत नॉलेज की जरूरत होगी, ये वो. ज्यादा इन सब चीजों की जरूरत नहीं है. इट इज जस्ट अबाउट कंसिस्टेंटली शोइंग देयर एंड पुटिंग द एफर्ट. जैसे यू वर सेइंग, यू पुट 13,000 tweets in a month, right? This is the game. The game is to actually be there, be present. नाउ द मोमेंट आई रियलाइज कि ऑनलाइन सेल्स भी होती है, लैंडिंग पेजेस क्या होते हैं, डिजिटल मार्केटिंग खुद भी कर सकते हैं, गूगल एड्स टारगेटिंग, ये वो, it completely changed my life. I realized that like I don't want to be working in an office बैठे for a client or for a job that frankly does not even fulfill me that much. पेट्रोल का पैसा खर्चो, ये करो वो करो, जाके बातें करो 50 लोगों से. जब I personally now have dealt with businesses that are doing upwards of $500,000 a month, just online, purely online, and उनके businesses are so simple, Sarthak, you will lose your mind. Like I know this company, वो क्या करती है कि अगर आपके पास प्रोडक्ट है, आपके पास प्रोडक्ट ना भी हो, आपके पास पैसा है 5-6 हज़ार डॉलर टाइप्स, विच इज नॉट दैट मच इन टूडेज डे एंड एज। 5-6 लाख तो सबके पास होता है सेविंग, एटलीस्ट द पीपल इन आवर सर्कल्स। वो आपके लिए एक अमेजोन स्टोर सेटअप कर देते हैं, वो आपके लिए प्रोडक्ट्स खरीदते हैं, अपने आप जैसे ऑर्डर आता है वो डिलीवरी कर देते हैं आपके लिए, वो सब कुछ मैनेज करते हैं, वो 20% कट लेते हैं आपसे प्रॉफिट का। दिस कंपनी इज डूइंग $500,000 अ मंथ, मतलब ये महीने का 2 से 3 करोड़ रुपए, नहीं, इंडियन रुपीज विल बी 4 करोड़ रुपीज देर अप्रोक्सीमेटली डूइंग 1 month, just by selling products on Amazon. This is one. There are countless other businesses like this. So when I saw this, I was like, wow. Like, पहले तो मुझे लगा ये लोग फोर्ब्स पे क्यों नहीं आते, क्या सीन है, कुछ स्कैम होगा ये वो। फिर रियलाइज हुआ कि इन लोगों को टैक्स भरना नहीं अच्छा लगता था, कि प्रॉब्लली इधर उधर हेरा फेरी करके चला रहे हैं अपना धंधा। बट इट वाज रेवोल्यूशनरी टू मी। आई रियलाइज दैट द इंटरनेट हैज सो मच पावर एंड यू कैन रीच सो मेनी पीपल जस्ट बाय बीइंग ऑन द इंटरनेट।
So, Galav, put coming on to this point of yours, it was one of the things that changed your mind. But on the other hand, from a perspective of a particular child or a teenager or an adult, I think that when so like coming from an Indian background, having an Indian culture, so you cannot change your mindset in like 4, 5, 6 months, even if you are working out. You at
Yeah.
some point of a time, your brain would be working onto an Indian culture. Like first thing you think from an Indian culture, then you say that कि नहीं नहीं मैं तो बाहर बैठा हूँ तो मेरे को इसे change करके I should think a different perspective. But
Yeah.
for a teenager or an adult who want to start a business, he thinks 20,000 रुपए लगाएं, I need a growth in like 1 month. I think that
Yeah.
growth can be compounded exponentially, but not fast. Even if
Yeah.
Reliance, who is trading at 2599 today, is trading from that point of time to 2599, but there is an growth of 5 to 10% annually into that share.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you want to say to that viewers who want to start their business? They should start doing it step by step, and or what should be the protocol to them to think, because in India we think like I can give you the best example. अंडर ग्रेजुएट करेंगे, शादी करेंगे, बच्चे करेंगे, बच्चों की पढ़ाई करेंगे, बस. So
Hmm.
it's all totally on business. पैसा आएगा, रॉ मटेरियल नहीं आएगा, लॉस हो जाएगा, डेट हो जाएगा, we will be out.
Yeah.
Then people
Yeah.
don't come up into the business because they think till that कि debt भी लेना पड़ जाएगा, लोन भी लेना पड़ जाएगा.
Yeah.
So what is your call on to it? Thinking कि business start कैसे करें?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, I think there is a big problem of दुकान mentality in India. ठीक है, लोगों को लगता है कि बिजनेस का क्या मतलब होता है, बिजनेस का मतलब है कि मैंने कुछ खरीदा और मैं बैठ गया वो लेके, और मेरे से आके कोई ना कोई खरीद लेगा। ठीक है, अनफॉर्चुनेटली दुनिया चेंज हो गई है बहुत ज्यादा। नाउ इट इज इजी टू रीच पीपल ऑनलाइन, एंड नॉट ओनली रीच रैंडम पीपल, बट आई कैन एक्चुअली चूज, लाइक अगर मैं गूगल एड्स कैंपेन लगाऊं, मैं चूज कर सकता हूँ कि दिल्ली के बंदे जो ये स्पेसिफिक सर्च टर्म करे, जो पहले ये सर्च टर्म कर चुके हैं, उनको रीटारगेट करके ऐड करना। सो द स्कोप of actually buying stuff and sitting there has gone. I don't think वो modern business का approach है. Second problem I think is people want very very quick returns, or they think कि, like a lot of people also have this mentality that I found a bit weird in recent times, is कि उनको लगता है कि हम ये कर लेंगे चल जाएगा, ये नहीं करेंगे तो ये चीज रिपीट करते रहेंगे और शायद वो चल जाएगा। ऐसे भी नहीं होता। लाइक आई टेल यू, टू अ वीक अगो आई वाज रीडिंग दिस लिंक्डइन पोस्ट बाय सम गाय who has tried to launch 2 of his SaaS startups अभी तक। ठीक है, उसने पहला SaaS बनाया, वो नहीं चला, दूसरा SaaS बनाया, वो भी नहीं चला। अब नौकरी वोकरी उसको लेनी नहीं है, ही वांट्स टू बी एन एंटरप्रेन्योर। तो उसने लिंक्डइन पे पोस्ट डाल रखा था कि मैं अब हर महीने एक SaaS प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च करूंगा until I find a product market fit। तो मैंने ये पढ़ा, मैंने सोचा यार क्या बेवकूफ आदमी है, बिकॉज तू अपना टाइम वेस्ट कर रहा है बैठ के, 100 प्रोडक्ट्स बनाएगा, ये करेगा वो करेगा। The better approach is to solve a problem, and ultimately people should understand that business is about solving a problem। आपके घर के साइड की भी जो दुकान खुली हुई है ना, वो इसीलिए खुली हुई है क्योंकि बाकी दुकानें दूर है घर से। वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करता है वो कोई टाइड इज नॉट द प्रॉब्लम फॉर पीपल। लोगों को टाइड खरीदने का, निरमा खरीदने का शौक नहीं है, लेकिन उनको ये अपने घर के लिए चाहिए। एंड इफ यू आर द क्लोजेस्ट और यू आर द बेस्ट ऑप्शन अवेलेबल और यू आर द चीपेस्ट, people will come to you because you're solving a problem. So what I think people should do in terms of opening a business is आइडेंटिफाइंग अ प्रॉब्लम। और प्रॉब्लम्स आइसोलेशन में आइडेंटिफाई नहीं होते, ये भी लोगों को समझना पड़ता है। उनको लगता है कि मैं यहाँ बैठ के देखूंगा वो दुकान है ना जो, तो मेरे को समझ आ जाएगा कि उसकी ज़िंदगी में क्या दिक्कतें आ रही है। नहीं आएगा। आपको रोज़ दुकान में बैठना पड़ेगा जाके, रोज़ देखना पड़ेगा ये दुकानदार करता क्या है, क्या दिक्कत है इसकी लाइफ में, फिर आप वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर पाओगे। बट वंस यू हैव सॉल्व्ड द प्रॉब्लम, इट इज़ वेरी ईज़ी टू रेप्लिकेट बिकॉज़ इंटरनेट से यू कैन फाइंड मिलियंस ऑफ कस्टमर्स डूइंग द सेम थिंग। जैसे मेरा था, मैंने जब वेब डेवलपमेंट स्टार्ट किया था अमंगस्ट माय क्लोजेस्ट फ्रेंड्स, शिवम, I think he was your roommate in college also. उसको वेबसाइट चाहिए थी. That is how I started. Then I realized कि oh my god, there are these SMBs, small medium businesses that I can target, जिनके लिए ये प्राइस रेंज में वेबसाइट चलती है. And I started targeting them, and that's how I started getting more orders. एक बार प्रॉब्लम का पता चल गया, then you can solve it for more people. If you don't know the problem, then you yourself are the problem.
So Galav, now like professional life, so like in the first I told you keeping the college life to an different part and coming with a professional. Now we'll do vice versa, keeping the professional one side and coming to the college part. ऐसे कौन से दो इंसिडेंट हैं फ्रेंड ग्रुप के साथ या जिसमें मैं भी इन्वॉल्व हूँ को जो कॉलेज में जो कभी भी like it would be remembered till the end of your last breath? What are these two? Because कॉलेज की फ्रेंड्स के साथ इंसिडेंट होना ही याद रखता है एट द एंड ऑफ द डे कि आप जब खड़े होते हो तो आप भी लोगों को चार लोगों को सुनाते हो कि यार उस कॉलेज में तो हमने ये भी करा था या ये भी करा था. सो व्हाट आर दैट्स टू इंसिडेंट कीपिंग a line of symmetry telling that what were the best experiences into the college with us or like yours?
यार आई थिंक वी हैड अ वेरी फॉर्चुनेट कॉलेज एक्सपीरियंस। मैं बताऊं तो मैं कभी कभी लोगों को कहानियां बताता हूँ ना, उनको विश्वास ही नहीं होता कि हमने कॉलेज में ये सब भी करा है। ठीक है, लोगों की फट जाती है, उनको लगता है वाह ये क्या चल रहा है। बट आई हैव हैड अ थिंग विद अथॉरिटी, तो मेरे को ना मजा आता है थोड़ा सा अथॉरिटी से पंगे लेने में। तो मेरे को ये इंसिडेंट बड़े अच्छे से याद है कि हम लोग सब क्लास में बैठे हुए थे एंड वी वर लर्निंग मोनोपोली एंड ओलिगोपोली इन इकोनॉमिक्स क्लास। And one of our friends, Akir, I don't know if you were there in the class. In fact, you were
Yeah, yeah.
sitting with
The class of
Akir,
Mr. the Professor Sudeep Patra.
Sudeep Patra. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we were learning about Monopoly, and he says, "Ki Monopoly, do you have any examples?" And Akir just stands up and goes, "Sir, OCB." That was a fantastic experience because he was not wrong, and it was such a great example to give.
Yeah.
And of course, like I mean, what I miss the most is just like the chilling around that we used to do. You know, I'm constantly या तो तेरे रूम में या तो किसी और के रूम में बैठे हुए हैं, we're chilling, we're having fun, just talking, not really stressed about life. That was fantastic. I really miss those days, and I miss SH2 days when it all started. That was very cool. We used to just be around all the time, just बैठे हुए हैं। मेरे को अभी भी याद है, नीचे जाओ से फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे तेरा रूम था, आई थिंक 131, एंड हम नीचे जाते थे और नीचे वहाँ शॉन्टी खड़ा होता था। तू खड़ा होता था ऐसे, चलो भाई कुछ करते हैं। So those are very nice days. I
So
miss
yeah,
those.
Galav, coming to an end segment of this podcast, I wanted you to tell the viewers a one liner for their life. And this liner should be even if a child is watching, 13-year child is watching this podcast, he should understand that what is one thing that you want to tell each and everyone who is watching this podcast.
I think the best thing, like especially at our age, and I guess the viewership is also a lot of people at our age. The one advice that I would give them is take calculated risks. सब लोगों को करना चाहिए, हमारी एज पे तो खासकर करना चाहिए जब तक शादी वादी ना हो जाए। टेक कैलकुलेटेड रिस्क, ये 13 साल के बच्चे भी समझेंगे कि कैलकुलेटेड रिस्क लो, बिकॉज लाइफ इज ऑल अबाउट टेकिंग रिस्क। इफ यू डोंट तो देन यू जस्ट बिकम बोरिंग। सो आई वुड स्ट्रांगली एडवाइस फॉर पीपल टू डू दैट।
So, coming to an end of the podcast, it was an amazing experience with Mr. Galav Bhushan. Thank you, Galav, for making out like spending time with me into this
A pleasure.
podcast. And I hope our viewers would get an amazing instant or the feedback or their perception would be changed on the topics that we talked. So this was all from the Podsavvy. So this side Sarthak Batra want to thank Mr. Galav Bhushan for once again coming to Podsavvy platform, and we hope we would call him again into the season 2 of podcast again with the new learnings and new perspectives. And I hope he also loved coming to the podcast.
It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I had a great conversation, and thank you so much for the invite.
So thank you so much, Galav Bhushan, for coming. And I hope you are watching this podcast. This podcast would be live on Sunday, and I would update this when it would be live at which time. So you came to know who is Galav Bhushan, what are the college memories of us, and we have been connected since so long till now. That is why we came up with a podcast so that you can get to learn some different things. And this is all from Podsavvy. You listen, we craft. Ending, signing off, Sarthak Batra, founder of Podsavvy. And we thank Galav Bhushan once again for coming onto this channel.